You know that moment, right? Your car makes a funny noise, or maybe your phone screen cracks.
Oh, yeah. Or something at work just grinds to a halt.
Exactly. And your first thought is probably, okay, how do I get this fixed
Mm-hmm.
fast? But do you ever stop and think about the huge global machine that kicks into gear just to get that one tiny part?
That invisible network, yeah. It's massive.
It really is. And that's what we're diving into today. The absolutely enormous global spare parts product market.
It's the quiet engine behind so much, isn't it? Our cars, our devices, the machines that keep industries going.
Completely. So we're digging into the latest research here from Cognitive Market Research.
Good source. Comprehensive stuff.
Yeah, and our mission today is really to unpack the honestly surprising scale of this market, understand its steady growth, what's really driving it globally, and, where the most interesting changes are happening.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's unpack this with some initial big picture numbers, just to
Okay.
set the scene.
Date me with them.
All right, so the global spare parts market back in 2021 was valued at a, staggering $529.53 billion.
Wow. Already huge.
Huge. And it's not slowing down. Projections show it hitting over $639.5 billion by 2025.
Okay.
And then get this, an impressive $933 billion, almost a trillion by 2033.
That's serious growth.
It really is. That works out to a consistent compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 4.8333%, almost 5% every year.
Okay, so what's behind that? What are the main forces pushing this consistent expansion?
Well, the research points to a few key things. Increasing demand for automotive parts, electronics needing fixes, industrial maintenance. It's worldwide.
Yeah, and that makes sense, but it's more than just things breaking, right? What's fascinating here is how this market growth mirrors our increasing reliance on complex machines and tech everywhere.
How so?
Well, think about it. Rising vehicle ownership, especially in developing economies, more cars mean more parts needed down the line.
Right. Simple math.
Exactly. And then there's the constant need for equipment maintenance across every single sector. Manufacturing, agriculture, healthcare, downtime costs a fortune.
So keeping things running is paramount.
Absolutely. Plus, as manufacturing expands globally, you naturally need more spares for the machines doing the manufacturing. It feeds itself.
Makes sense.
But here's a newer angle that's really accelerating things. Digital service models.
Like ordering parts online.
Sort of, but more sophisticated. Think online marketplaces connecting repair shops directly with global suppliers, or AI predicting which parts will be needed where, optimizing inventory.
So technology is making repairs easier.
Easier, faster, more efficient, which interestingly encourages repair over just replacing the whole thing. It kind of hints at a shift maybe towards valuing longevity, keeping assets working longer.
That's a really interesting point.
Okay.
So we know it's growing everywhere, but where is it growing fastest?
Yeah.
Let's maybe zoom in on Asia Pacific first.
Yeah.
The report highlights it as one of the most rapidly expanding regions.
Definitely. APAC is a powerhouse in this story.
The numbers are big. Over $173 billion back in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
and projected to nearly double over $326 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 5.4%, stronger than the global average.
Very strong.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Within APAC, India is just leading the charge.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It has the highest KGR mentioned in the whole report, almost 7.2%.
Wow, 7.179%. That's significant.
Right. It's expected to grow from about $27.5 billion to over $63 billion, more than doubling. It really feels like a story of rapid industrialization catching up.
Absolutely. Massive potential being realized there. But of course, you can't ignore the giants.
No way. China's market is huge, too, projected to hit nearly $100 billion by 2033.
And Japan's still significant, growing steadily towards what, almost $58 billion?
Exactly. And South Korea, Australia, they're both showing solid growth, too, around the $30 billion mark by 2033.
Singapore's interesting, too. Smaller market size overall, but a really high CAGR, almost 6%.
Yeah, $10 billion to $20 billion maybe reflects its role as a tech and logistics hub.
Could be. And you also see steady growth across Southeast Asia and Taiwan as well. It's a dynamic region.
Definitely. Okay, so let's shift gears. What about Europe?
Europe tells a different story. It's the established giant, you know?
Right. Mature market.
Exactly. It accounted for nearly $158 billion in 2021, heading towards $264 billion by 2033. The KGR is a bit lower, around 4.4%, but that's on a huge base.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture.
It speaks to a highly industrialized region, lots of existing machinery, infrastructure. It all needs maintaining. The demand isn't necessarily from explosive new growth like parts of Asia, but from the sheer volume and age of what's already there.
Makes sense. And the big economies are driving that: Germany, France, the UK.
For sure, Germany's heading towards nearly $50 billion, France almost $40 billion, the UK over $30 billion. Steady, solid growth.
Italy's got a strong CAGR, though, right? Almost 5%.
Yeah, 4.931%, growing from $17 billion to over $30 billion. That's notable.
And Russia and Spain are also showing pretty fast expansion.
They are. Russia heading towards $30 billion, Spain over $22 billion. Then you've got Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, even Luxembourg, all adding significantly to that European total. It's a deep market.
Okay, so Europe's the established giant. What about North America? Still a core player, I assume?
Absolutely, a core contributor. Over $135 billion in 2021, projected to reach almost $223 billion by 2033.
And the U.S. leads that?
By a long shot, yeah. Growing from $112 billion towards $180 billion, but the overall regional TAGR is slightly lower, around 4.3%.
But Canada stands out a bit here.
It does, actually. It's got a promising growth trajectory, as the report puts it, a higher CDR than the U.S., almost 6%.
Interesting. So $18.6 billion heading towards $37 billion.
Doubling. Right. Might be driven by specific sectors there, maybe resource industries or a bigger push on life cycle extension for assets.
Could be. And Mexico's showing steady growth, too, adding another $6 billion or so by 2033.
So North America remains crucial, even if the overall percentage growth isn't quite as high as APAC.
Right. Okay, beyond these, let's call them established powerhouses, the report talks about ascending markets. Where are we seeing surprising acceleration?
The Middle East jumps out immediately. It has the highest regional SAGR overall, nearly 5.8%.
Wow, doubling from about $13.8 billion to over $27 billion.
Exactly. And within that, the UAE is really standing out. Its CAGR is exceptional, almost 7%, 6.818% to be precise.
So from $2.3 billion to over $5 billion. What's driving that, do you think? Rapid infrastructure build-out, diversification.
Probably a mix of both. Lots of major projects, expanding industrial capacity. It all requires parts support. Saudi Arabia is also growing significantly, heading towards $8.4 billion, and Qatar is making strong gains, too.
Okay, Middle East tops AGR. What about South America?
Another region on a strong upward trajectory. Expected growth of nearly 5.3% SAGR.
So doubling here, too, from around $35 billion to almost $65 billion.
That's right. Brazil leads the way, as you'd expect, heading towards $26 billion. But Argentina is also showing a big jump, nearly doubling to almost $16 billion.
And Colombia and Peru.
Substantial gains there, too. Colombia potentially doubling to nearly $11 billion. Peru getting close to $6 billion. It really underscores that increasing reliance on machinery across the continent.
And finally, Africa. Emerging potential.
Definitely emerging potential. The market value was just under $15 billion in 2021, projected to get close to $28 billion by 2033.
So again, almost doubling with a CAGR over 5.2%.
Yeah. And the key players highlighted are Nigeria, projected to reach over $12 billion, and South Africa, hitting over $11.5 billion. They seem to be the main hubs driving that growth as their industrial bases expand.
Okay, wow. That's a lot of ground covered, a lot of numbers. So let's try and synthesize. What does this all mean for you listening?
Well, the big takeaway is pretty clear, isn't it?
Consistent, undeniable growth, pretty much everywhere.
Exactly. Across all global regions.
Yeah.
And the drivers are multifaceted but clear.
Right. More vehicles needing parts, constant equipment maintenance being essential, manufacturing expanding, and these new digital ways of getting parts making it all easier.
It paints a really promising picture for this market, doesn't it? Both in developed economies needing to maintain what they have, and especially in emerging economies as they build out.
It really does. The scale is just massive.
Which, leads to a final, maybe provocative thought for you to mull over.
Yeah.
Given this huge, consistent growth in just spare parts, what does that really tell us about our global relationship with technology and, well, our stuff?
What do you mean?
Are we actually shifting towards a future where, longevity and repair become more critical than just constant innovation and replacement? We're keeping things running is the main goal?
Or is it the opposite?
Or is it just a sign of how totally indispensable these complex systems, our cars, our machines, our devices have become? So indispensable that we have to keep them running, feeding this massive parts market because we simply can't function without them anymore.
Repair versus reliance. That's definitely something to think about.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that tackles complex topics, tries to cut through the noise, and really distill what's reshaping industries. Today, we're diving into a world that honestly most of us probably take for granted, but it's one that literally keeps everything moving. We're talking about the global spare parts product market. It sounds niche, maybe, but think about it. Your car breaks down, a factory robot stops working. That silent, efficient flow of spare parts. That's what makes the difference between things running smoothly and, well, complete shutdown. So our mission today is to unpack the key market dynamics, the future trends. Basically what's shaping this essential, often kind of hidden industry. We've gone through a stack of sources, and we're going to pull out some surprising facts that show just how vital and, frankly, complex this whole market is. It's way more than just replacing a broken bolt.
Oh, absolutely. It's really striking when you look closely how deeply integrated this market is with almost everything in modern life.
Yeah.
It's not just fixing things anymore, not really. It's about ensuring reliability, driving innovation, and increasingly it's shaping sustainability efforts. Across sectors, across continents, it's kind of the silent engine powering efficiency behind the scenes.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Where should we start? I mean, with what's driving demand in this space.
Yeah.
Our sources point to a few key things. First off, there's this constantly growing demand for equipment uptime. Reliability seems obvious, right?
Yeah.
But think about it. Sectors like automotive, industrial manufacturing, even electronics. Downtime isn't just annoying. It means lost productivity, big time.
Yeah.
Missed deadlines, real hits to revenue. So businesses are, they're investing more proactively in things like better spare part inventory systems, life cycle management. It's strategic. It's about making sure critical gear just keeps running, almost like an insurance policy.
And it's not just about speed, getting it fixed fast. It's more about preventing those really expensive, unscheduled breakdowns from happening at all. Which, it brings up a good question.
Mm.
How much value do you, listening right now, place on something running without interruption? Whether it's your car or a massive industrial plant, it fundamentally changes how you think about investment, moving from just reacting to problems to proactively maintaining things.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And feeding right into that, the second big driver,
Mm.
the rise of e-commerce, digital procurement platforms. Remember how it used to be? Ordering a specific part could mean like weeks of phone calls, digging through obscure catalogs, prices totally
Well,
unclear.
isn't a nightmare?
Those days are disappearing fast.
Yeah.
Now, buyers can jump online, see huge catalogs, compare prices from different suppliers transparently, and often get parts delivered globally pretty quickly. This hasn't just made things easier, it's genuinely opened the market up. New players can get in, traditional suppliers can reach way more customers online. It boosts convenience, sure, but also transparency.
And the deeper thing there, I think, is that this digital shift, it's not just a convenience layer. It's fundamentally changing market access. Competition, too. It kind of cuts out some of the old middlemen, doesn't it? Changes who holds the pricing power, who carries the inventory risk. It is democratizing the supply chain, like you said, but it's also forcing everyone to rethink their old ways of doing business. There are definitely winners and losers emerging from this.
Really interesting. Okay, third key factor driving demand. Simple fact is, a lot of our infrastructure, our assets, are just getting old. Across many regions, you've got factories, transport fleets, big machinery systems. They're running way past their original expected lifespan.
Hmm.
So instead of the huge cost of replacing everything, organizations are often choosing to maintain them. And that means sourcing the right compatible spare parts.
Right. And this creates a really steady, long-term demand. It's maybe less sensitive to economic ups and downs, too, especially for those legacy systems. Think energy grids, water utilities, heavy industry. It's actually a strong indicator of the value people see in extending the life of what they already have, getting every last bit of use out of it.
Okay, so we've got strong drivers, but let's flip to the other side, the challenges.
Mm.
Because like any big market, this one has hurdles. And maybe the biggest one, the most serious, is the problem of counterfeit parts, substandard parts.
Yeah, that's a huge issue.
It's not just about getting ripped off. This is safety, performance, trust. Think about industries where failure is just not an option. Aviation, automotive safety systems, medical devices. Using a substandard part there, it could lead to catastrophic failures. Huge compliance problems, too. Lives literally on the line sometimes.
Exactly. And that problem, it doesn't just damage trust in a specific supplier, it damages trust in the market. It makes customers, understandably, really hesitant to use third-party or aftermarket parts, even if they're cheaper. It creates this real tension, doesn't it, between saving money and ensuring safety. And for critical things, safety just has to win. The reputational damage from getting it wrong is immense.
Definitely. Another big headache for the industry, just the sheer complexity of inventory in the supply chain.
Mhm.
Imagine trying to manage, I don't know, potentially millions of different spare part types, SKUs as they call them, across the whole world.
Tiny screws to massive engine components.
Exactly. Especially for older gear or less common machines, it
Mhm.
makes logistics incredibly complicated.
Mm.
And you're always balancing the risk, right?
Mhm.
Order too much, you tie up cash and inventory that just sits there. Order too little, and you face stockouts. You don't have that critical part when someone desperately needs it.
And that inefficiency, it directly drives up costs for the suppliers. And of course, it can really frustrate customers if the part they need isn't available right away. It's like walking a tightrope trying to optimize inventory for things that might be needed urgently, but maybe only once in a blue moon. A logistical nightmare, really.
And then layered on top of that, you've got the relentless pace of technology, obsolescence, innovation cycles, especially in electronics vehicles. They're getting shorter and shorter. Component specs change constantly.
They really do. It's hard to keep up. And that forces suppliers to constantly redesign parts, retool their manufacturing lines, which, costs money. It's their profitability. The deeper insight here, I think, is that it's not just about keeping up to date. It's a frantic race against time and tech changes. Today's state-of-the-art part could be obsolete much faster than anyone planned for, which makes long-term inventory planning incredibly difficult.
Wow, okay. So, significant challenges. But despite all that, there's a lot of innovation happening. Let's shift gears and talk about the future trends.
Yep.
Because the market is evolving. And one of the really exciting developments is this move towards predictive maintenance. And related to that, smart spare parts.
Yes.
Ugh.
This is a genuine game changer. The idea is you embed IoT sensors, tiny sensors, right into the equipment itself. They can monitor things like vibration, temperature, wear and tear in real time. They can detect tiny anomalies, maybe days or even weeks before a failure would actually happen.
So you fix it before it breaks.
Exactly. It shifts maintenance from reactive to proactive, even predictive. And this data-driven approach, it's driving demand for these new smart spare parts, parts that can signal their own health, be monitored remotely, maybe even trigger their own reorder automatically. It completely revolutionizes how maintenance works, changes asset management strategy fundamentally.
That proactive capability is massive. And kind of related, we're also seeing a rise in customization, on-demand manufacturing, things like 3D printing, additive manufacturing, flexible production lines.
hmm
They're making it possible. Instead of making thousands of a part and storing them, manufacturers can now produce small batches, sometimes even just one single part, tailored exactly to a specific machine, right when it's needed.
Yeah, and this is incredibly valuable for older machines or really rare equipment, stuff where finding original parts is impossible or way too expensive. On-demand production cuts storage costs way down, reduces waste from overproduction, and can slash delivery times. It's not just a minor tweak, it's changing the whole supply chain model, especially for those niche or legacy parts.
Okay, and the final big trend we need to talk about is sustainability. There's a real push now for remanufactured parts, eco-friendly options.
Mhm.
ESG policies, environmental, social, governance, they're becoming much more important in how companies make decisions, and customers expect it too.
Mhm.
So companies are embracing circular economy ideas, not just because they have to, but because it can be good business.
Absolutely. The wider implication is really significant here. By refurbishing parts, reusing components, recycling materials, businesses can cut waste dramatically, lower emissions, and still meet tough performance standards. Remanufactured parts, especially, are becoming really popular in heavy industry, transport, agriculture. Why? Because they're cost effective and they have a much smaller environmental footprint. It's a great example of how a market that used to be very linear, make, use, dispose, is now really starting to embrace circularity, turning old parts back into valuable resources.
So wrapping this up, our deep dive really shows, I think, that the global spare parts market is moving fast. It's transforming from that old, often reactive supply model to something much smarter, more digital, and definitely more sustainable. It's kind of amazing how these sectors that maybe seem a bit mundane on the surface are actually right at the cutting edge of tech and environmental change. They're constantly innovating behind the scenes.
Yeah, and if you step back and look at the big picture, it's clear, isn't it? As new tech keeps coming and our existing infrastructure keeps aging, the need for reliable, efficient, innovative spare part solutions, that's only going to grow, which raises a question for you, the listener. How are these trends we've talked about going to shape the lifespan, the efficiency, maybe even the environmental impact of the products and industries you rely on every day?
Yeah, that's a great closing thought. Maybe consider this.
Yeah.
The next time you interact with any machine in your car, something at work, whatever, just think for a second about that unseen world of spare parts, how it's working tirelessly just to keep things going, and how much smarter, faster, and greener that world is becoming. Makes
Mhm.
you wonder, what's the next big innovation going to be in just ensuring things keep running?